everyone, welcome to DC Conversations. On the newest episode on Sinister Chronicles, Spine Thrilling Crimes, the podcast where we take a deep, unfiltered dive into India's most haunting crime stories. Today, we have a special and extended episode where we reveal one of the most horrifying series of murders in India. So let's dive right into it. The story begins in Koodathayi, a sleepy village near Kozhikode, Kerala. The Thomas family was well known and very respected and led a very peaceful life. When Jolly Joseph married Roy Thomas, she became the closest to the family. She was everything that the society admired. She was soft spoken, seemingly well educated, and claimed her profession in NIT Calicut, and no one questioned about it. But here begins the deadly plot unfolding where she started to, kill different people of the family. So let's go over the six deaths in the family, which happened in between the time period of 2002 to 2006. So first, Jolie Joseph killed Annama Thomas in 2002, who was Jolie Joseph's mother-in-law, and died drinking mutton soup. Then came Tom Thomas, who was the father-in-law of Jolie Joseph, and he died because of a cardiac arrest. Uh, in 2011, Roy Thomas, who was Jolly's old husband, was found dead with cyanide traces in his stomach. Matthew Manjedial, who was dead in 2014, a relative who died drinking whiskey. So, if you see all these deaths, it's so weird to see that there are no specifics of how they died. Like, who would die drinking whiskey unless somebody would have poisoned it? Then in 2016, Cicely Sarju, who was Jolie Joseph's cousin-in-law, who died consuming food provided by Jolly. And Alvin Shaju, who died in 2014, was a 2-year-old daughter who died reportedly with choking of food.
This is so sad. Like, okay, there are age difference over here. Like from Annama Thomas, who was the eldest in the family, to a 2-year-old daughter. That is more gruesome.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what exactly would be a reason behind a 2-year-old daughter getting killed.
Yeah. And what would it even like? How would that 2-year-old daughter even affect Jolie to kill and take such a gruesome step towards killing that
And
child?
all of this, like, it all started when she has come into the family, and slowly, one by one, of the family members started to just end. Yeah.
So these deaths, of course, seem like tragedy, and we never know what was happening behind the scenes of these deaths. And uh, in this video, we will again look into how these deaths have come and what were the causes of the deaths.
So, after Roy's death, his brother Rojo Thomas, who lived in the US, began to grow suspicious. He filed an RTI application, got hold of the autopsy reports, and noticed that Roy had died due to cyanide poisoning, which is very unusual. Then he took the evidence to the police, who reopened the investigation, and slowly a horrifying truth started to unravel. But here's the catch. Jolly's entire life story was a fabrication. She never had worked in NIT Calicut. Her educational qualifications were also false. She created an illusion of success and used that as an image to manipulate everyone around her.
So there were a lot of speculations about how Jolly, faked all of her identities. It started from, graduation, how she faked that, and how it went on to faking her job in NIT. And there are a lot of things, she wasn't educated. And only to prove to the family that she was well educated and she was doing good in life, only for the acceptance of that family is why she made so many fabrications and fabricated her whole life in front of them, and then finally just killed them.
And I remember in the podcast that
Death lies in cyanide.
yeah,
Yes.
in that they've already told that she had this craving of feeling, superior, or like
Yeah.
she wanted that status uh, in like a society.
Yes.
And
Yes.
not even that, like during her college days also, even small things that she used to steal from her roommates or friends.
Yeah.
And even though they know the truth, she keeps blatantly lying, saying that no, I didn't do it. So
Yeah.
these small things actually showed a lot in the case, because it started with small things and then it ended up here.
And also the thing about education being such a big, it
Yeah.
plays a very big part of Kerala at that state, because there is a lot of recognition given to teachers there.
Exactly.
Because they are known to educate and also actually literate the whole city and give them lot of ideas and lot of things to look forward to. So if they've always looked up to teachers in a certain way, and families of teachers, example, the Koodathayi family itself, they have that reputation in that society. And only because of her and because of whatever fabrications she has done, not only that recognition has gone, but there is a lot of doubts to what families can also, trust and believe in people.
Initially, like I feel like she didn't want to start working, because at that time I remember it was Annamma, the
Yeah.
mother-in-law, who kept on telling her to just go do the job. You have nice degree.
Yeah.
Because who wants to sit there and just sit idle?
Yeah.
So like as soon as, but the things in her society suddenly started changing, and she is not feeling that importance and relevance in the family. So she just made up a whole job. She has
Illusion
taken,
kind of.
yeah. And so I have no idea how people can just make up that.
Yeah.
The police believes there were motives behind her acts: property and financial control, desire to remove obstacles to her plans, and to remarry within the same family, which she did to Shaju, Cecily's husband.
It started off with Annamma Thomas. In
Yeah.
the initial, so what was the motive behind her? I think it was,
So there were a lot of as Annamma was a teacher and she was retired, she, because of Jolly being very educated, and her certificates show that she, I think, had masters, has done masters, and that is a very good thing in a family like that. So Annamma wanted her, which is very progressive of a family. Normally in Indian families, we wouldn't even see that, girls who've gotten married into the family are promoted to work. But Annamma was very open minded and she wanted Jolly to find a job and work and also provide to the family. But Jolly herself didn't like that at all, because she wanted to not work, and she wanted to just have that delusional recognition in the family. And then later on, she wanted to focus on just being that family person and getting that recognition and not do anything else in life. So first, she started by planning to murder Annamma, where she actually goes and provides mutton soup. I think
that day the whole family was there.
yeah,
And
yes.
very
And in the kitchen, she fell unconscious, and they took her to the hospital, and she was declared dying of cardiac arrest.
And just because Annamma wanted her to go and work, and she just didn't feel like it, so she just felt like that's my obstacle now. She needs to be removed.
Yeah.
She just felt like that thing was right, and she just killed her, just like that.
Yeah. And then comes Tom Thomas in 2008, who is her father-in-law, and he didn't want her to do anything. He just wanted her to, work and again live a good life, provide for the family. And there was also a rumor, not even a rumor, I think it's reality, how that she wanted to own Roy's properties. She wanted to have that name on those properties, and that is how she even created a fake property, the the paper, what the property paper, yes. So the property paper was made again fakely by her, and then that was sent to Tom Thomas, and he, without even thinking it, has signed the papers. So the fact that even for property and financial growth, she killed people, and she not only killed anybody, it is her own father-in-law, and apparently she was in love. She fell in love and she got married to Roy Thomas in love, and then shockingly, Roy Thomas dies in 2011. Jolly's husband was found dead because of just not being the ideal husband. So she literally killed her husband only because he was not the ideal husband, and he was just lazing around, not doing any work, which was not true. And he just had to die. So she just fed him, his last meal of the night after coming back from work, and he went into the bathroom and he collapsed in the bathroom, having a cardiac arrest, of course, because of the intake of cyanide in his body, and he passes away. Then we have Matthew Manjerial, who dies in 2014. He is very much related to the family, and he is very much there, present in the family's functions and whatever they do. So Matthew Manjerial had a lot of doubts on how Roy Thomas died, and he was very suspicious on Jolly especially.
He wanted an autopsy of
Roy's, yes, body. So later on, of course, Jolly, again, because of the the series of killings that she has pulled up, she decides to then kill Matthew. So she invites him home, and she gives him a drink of whiskey, where she, of course, adds cyanide to it, and he dies then and there in 2014. And then later on, now she is very lonely.
Yeah, now
She
that
has no immediate family in her life, and she is extremely having that loneliness phase. Now she decides to start dating and start, living a better life in the family, wanting to live a better life in the family. So she gets in contact with Roy's cousin Shaju, and later on decides to have a relationship with him. So now Shaju has already a family where he has a wife and a daughter, a 2-year-old daughter. So the first thing that happens in Jolly's plan is the death of Alkin Shaju. She is Shaju's daughter, who is 2 years old, and there was a very big wedding kind of a thing that was happening, and Jolly apparently poisoned a
Fed her.
2-year-old, fed her while she was eating her daily meals, fed her, and in that food, she poisoned her with cyanide and killed her. So, nobody in this world would ever imagine their own aunt doing it to any niece, nephew, or even their own husband. But Jolly did it. And then later on, Cicely, who is Alfine's mother, she falls very depressed. She wants to, not even live. And later, Jolly now wants to kill her. And finally, she kills her in a doctor's appointment that she was also invited to. And she froths, gets a seizure with a cardiac arrest, and then dies.
like everything was a motive behind it, money or like people or
Yeah.
just her wanting everything. So it's always in her way.
Yeah.
Like, if I want it, I'm going to get it. So like it's very sad. Alfie was just 2 year old and a beautiful family it could have been, but
Yeah.
so because there are a lot of suspicions behind their deaths, all the people in the family, Rojo and Renji had filed a case against Jolly and claiming that there was something that is not adding up. And so they had to, in 2019, they had filed a report, and the police had to dug up the whole, every 6 members' burial ground and send them to autopsy. And from there, the truth just started to come in front of the world. So in 2019, Jolly was arrested after all the evidence and every other, including toxicology report, call records, testimonies, formed the whole backbone for this case. With her, there were two other people who were not initially in the story but were there behind, but we never knew that. They were Matthew and Pranju Kumar, Matthew is a goldsmith who produced the cyanide to her. So she wouldn't have got it from anywhere because it's not something that is available for people, right? She had to get it from there.
And also, goldsmiths have it already in their stores all the time to wash the gold.
Exactly. And Pranju Kumar, who allegedly helped her to facilitate the supply. So he was like a mediator or something. And so this whole thing has come to the limelight, and it became a whole sensationalized news because it was, when I heard of it, it was very shocking. But from years, it started off from Annamma Thomas to 2016 Alfine's death. So imagine somebody's mindset to even have that.
Yeah.
And she has a lot of guts that I could tell.
Yeah. And these reasons are not even something that you would kill for. It's very simple. It's very small to even start with. But I've heard a lot of crime stories where, people say that after one killing, it gets more interesting for them to go and kill. They like it. They want it. They want to do it again and again. So maybe Jolly wouldn't have seen another option other than just killing the person. It's a total wipeout. What else would bother her at all?
Of course, if there was any conflict, she made sure that
it was not there.
Like it was.
Yeah.
So this all comes with her. So let's delve into what exactly was the psychological behavior that had affected this. So the behavioral experts observed that Jolly showed signs of narcissist and possibly psychopath tendency. I'm sure she has both.
Of course.
And her behavior was very calm, emotionless, and disturbingly composed. So even the neighbors in her near her house were like, she never showed any signs of somebody who's very arrogant or like she was very calm and somebody who would talk to people, and especially her having this thing of a teacher, and the whole society was just like, yeah, she's a very nice person. Everything just.
There were a lot of testaments from the neighbors actually who said that she was the most sweetest after Annamma. Everybody went to her for advice. Everybody went to her for opinions because they wanted her viewpoint of what she thought of the problem they were coming up with, and they wanted her perspectives, her knowledge, because like I said, in the society in Kerala, there's a lot of respect a teacher's family gets and a teacher especially gets. So once she had earned that expectation and that respect from the society, of course nobody would suspect her, or nobody would see any traces of behavior that was very unusual in the society.
Even Renji, the sister of Roy Thomas, she has even claimed and saying that she was very a happy, jolly person, and jolly being jolly. So she was a very happy person, and she wanted things in life, especially when they used to go for shopping and and she saw that she's very keen into looking at all of the luxurious things that she needs. So despite multiple deaths in her own family, she never really had that grief within her. At least that's what people noticed. She continued to live her life normally and smiling, attending churches, and claiming to go to her college or whatsoever, and hosting guests in her house. So like right after deaths, I don't feel like a person could have that much of capacity to just live very normal and smilingly just talking to people. So this is what we have of her psychological behavior. So she still remains in custody and has been denied bail. And the trial is still ongoing, with the prosecution presenting strong forensic and circumstantial evidences, which of course was there. And her defense apparently claims that she's innocent and pointing out to procedural gaps, like the way the death was happening. But the circumstantial evidence and her behavior pattern have kept the case firmly against her. So, and I still remember news channel when I just opened her, and recently when I saw, I think she was going to the court, and she looks into the camera and she's like, "You guys don't have any work." And I was just like, "Oh wow!" Suddenly she had this confidence in her, saying that, now that they are fighting against her and claiming she's innocent, so she has that work.
Right. To
Yeah. And of course, the news people that's their work.
yeah.
So what exactly? And there was the impact and media storm, of course. In when this case has started, I've already told, it was like a huge sensationalized case. Like I could never even imagine a person, like coming from Kerala itself, I cannot imagine somebody who could have that kind of mindset, or like those cases I've never heard of. So the case went viral across India, and it challenged societal stereotypes about women and family dynamics. So in 2023, which is a very popular Netflix that was released at that time, the Jolly Joseph case, with all the police officials, the forensic experts, and family members, including, I think, her defense team has also come into the Netflix series, which is very infuriating to watch, because it just didn't feel like make any sense.
Yeah. And I feel like more than the Netflix series, me personally, I love the podcast that they released on Spotify.
Me too.
Before the Netflix series that came, it was also called Death Lies in Cyanide. That was something that was very spine chillingly bad.
You could
And
feel
gruesome, because I used to hear it every day in the night, and trust me, before going to sleep, I was so scared. Only because I still remember every time I used to listen to it, goosebumps. I used to get so much of goosebumps, because it's very terrifying to even know something like this would ever be true. So the story is not just about the killer, it's about the 6 lives that were lost. And Rojo Thomas and his sister, they still are triggered by whatever has happened to their family and still seek for justice. Shaju, who is Jolie Joseph's second husband, is still recovering from the loss of his wife and daughter. But there is a lot of speculations about, is it really true?
Yeah.
Is it really true that he was very sad that his wife and his daughter died? Did he play a role in that? We still don't know.
And also the property documents, and which
Yeah, the
very
fabrication.
suspicious. Yeah. Because her own son doesn't defend her.
Yeah.
He's against her, saying
Yes.
that she has done this, she has done this. Like,
Yes.
so yeah.
So the village of Koodathayi is actually struggling with disbelief of how did nobody see this coming.
Yeah.
Of course, because always they wanted, like I said, again, because of the status of the family and because of them teaching and being professional teachers, it never occurred to the society that they could have anything wrong going on in their family, because they all had that identity of being very professional, being very opinionated towards the problems of the society. So that is why nobody saw this crime getting taken place, and also struggled with a lot of disbelief towards why this crime took place. This case also teaches us that evil can wear a very ordinary face. Very ordinary face. You will never know who and what um, has what kind of things going on in their brain, and what kind of steps they can actually take towards um, committing any crime. Crimes can be committed silently, not with no violence, but devastating impacts. Of course, when you see this family, there has been so many impacts where now Jolly's own son, if you take for example, has no mother, has no father. He is taking care of his own younger brother, and there are so many things that they have to see in life without their parents, and it's very devastating. Even if you take Roger Thomas and his sister, they lost their own parents, and it's not even there is that satisfaction if you lose your parents. It's very wrong to even say that losing your parents is somewhat good, but when it comes to saying that you're losing your parent to something that is naturally caused the death, it is more peaceful to your soul, yeah, than having them die because of certain um, crimes or certain murders that have taken place, and this is their own people doing it. So it is very devastating for the house, and it's crucial to question and verify what we accept as the truth. So of course, when we see the world, we see a lot of things, but questioning what is right and what is wrong is always good, and it is always you see something is wrong, you should know it is wrong. It's something like that.
And that is what Rojo and Renji did.
Yeah,
If they wouldn't have opened up this case and nobody would see this or nobody would know about this,
very true.
Jolly would still continue to do wrong things to people. So, yeah. The Jolly Joseph case isn't just a story of cyanide and lies. It's a mirror to society's blind spots. We trust too easily, we dismiss our doubts, but sometimes the answers are hidden in the plain sights. Thank you for watching the series of Sinister Chronicles. Stay tuned to DC Conversations and please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon.